Hi everybody, welcome to Carytown Live at 4:15. So happy you are all tuning in. We've been having fun with all kinds of little technological issues, but we're hoping everything's solved, and if it's not, I'm trusting Kevin will give me a call and we'll see if there's something we can do about it. Anyway, so happy to get to play for you today. Sorry we're not here in person, but we're doing the very best we can. So happy Mother's Day, first of all, to everybody. And I think maybe I'll get started. Tried to find a kind of a program that has maybe a few songs about spring and one or two songs that have some connection to either my mother or somebody's mother, and then otherwise just some jazz standards and a few tunes of my own. So I think I'll get started with a standard entitled Out of Nowhere, and I will go to my notes here, make sure I do not misspeak. Written in 1931, Johnny Green and Edward Hayman. Bing Crosby actually premiered it in the film from 1931, Confessions of a Co-Ed. So here is Out of Nowhere. Okay, so that was Out of Nowhere. It's a very odd sensation to be playing in my office for my phone, but I know you're all out there, and it's like I said, it's just really very happy to be here, even if I cannot actually see you. So I did want to just point out here that we hope anybody who's listening who might ordinarily have bought a ticket will consider making a donation to this live stream. Proceeds from this are going to get split between Carytown Concert House and a charity that I picked out, the Washtenaw Small Business Emergency Relief Fund. There are so many people in need and groups in need and charities in need, and I just thought maybe this was a nice umbrella fund that would help all the small businesses that we love in Ann Arbor, from bookstores to restaurants to running shoe stores to the whole panoply of businesses in Ann Arbor. So I hope that you will consider making a donation. So I think now what I'd like to do is play a song that I actually did write in honor of my mother. It's on the last Momentum Portraits of Women in Motion CD. And one of the things I've been doing for the last week, and I hope some of you have as well, is bird watching. This is the annual spring migration, and it's a great time of year to see all kinds of unusual warblers that we only see when they come through on their way north. I guess they're all going to their vacation homes up in Traverse City, I'm not really sure. Maybe they own wineries, who knows. Anyway, the warbler migration is coming through, and that means you also get to see orioles and rose-breasted grosbeaks, indigo buntings, all these other beautiful birds. So my mother was really the one who instilled this love of birds in me, and so I wrote this song when I was at the Ucross Artist Colony in northeast Wyoming. They had asked all the artists and residents at the time to create some piece of art that would honor the birds. They had the beautiful bird sanctuary there. So I wrote a piece in honor of the western meadowlark. It's had a very unique call, one that was easy to hear, and they were so ubiquitous that you heard it everywhere you went. And it had a little triplet thing there in the end that made it really recognizable. So I think I'll start with Song of the Meadowlark, which is a dedication to my mother, and then segue into that into a song that really hasn't a relationship to either my mother or meadowlarks, but it's a song I like to play called How My Heart Sings. This by Earl Zindars, written late 1950s. One thing I should point out, those of you who are frequent visitors to the All About the Trio concerts know that Paul and Pete or Sean or Rob, whoever I happen to be with, we always like to talk to the audience between tunes. We like to give some background on what we're doing. We like to take questions, which of course we can't really do right now in this format. But I thought I should point out, in the effort of jazz research, to say this is one of the first tunes written that I know of that changed meters in the middle of it. So we start in 3/4, and in the middle of it, Earl Zindars goes to 4/4, and then back to 3/4. So just a little bit of jazz trivia for you. So Song of the Meadowlark and How My Heart Sings. was Song of the Meadowlark for my mother, and How My Heart Sings by Earls and Dars. So I think the next tune I'm going to play is Hot Off the Press. This happened, actually this also makes me think of my mother, who had a great sense of humor and was always able to laugh at herself. And I had an extreme embarrassing moment about, I don't know, maybe a week or two ago, when I was just finishing up a bike ride and I had been clipped into my pedals, and I unclipped to stop at the end of my driveway to talk to a neighbor, chatted for a few minutes at, of course, appropriate social distance, and then thought, oh, well, I'll dismount and get my mail and take the bike up the driveway, completely forgetting that I was still clipped in one foot, and just went right over. So, which is, it's one thing to have a bike accident where you can say, yeah, I fell, I was going 25 miles an hour, I had this, gnarly accident. But it's another thing to say, yes, I was standing still on my bike and I fell. So I decided the best way to deal with it was to write a tune about it. So I'm calling it Clipped In Blues at the moment. It may get another title, but I hope you enjoy it. Clipped In Blues. And there is text painting. I will point that out. It is extremely obvious. So, Clipped In Blues, hot off the press. Let's see. Once again, anybody just tuning in, this is live at 4:15. So happy to be able to play and try to do something to help out both Carytown Concert House, which is one of the most beloved cultural institutions in our town, in our state, just about the country for all I know. Just a beautiful, beautiful place to play, wonderful sense of community. Everybody who goes there knows what it feels like to sit in there and be part of an audience, and everybody who plays there, has the privilege to play there, knows what an intimate setting it is, how comfortable it is to play, and how you feel as though you and the audience are just one big family. So a big shout out to Monica and to Kevin and to everybody who works there for just making such a wonderful place available for all of us artists. So I think, let's see, at this point, oh yeah, so actually I said that one was hot off the press. This next one is even hotter off the press, and I'm not actually sure it's finished, but I'm going to trust that everybody will not object to hearing a work in progress. It's either the beginning of a suite or it's an almost finished ballad. It does not have a name yet, so anybody who wants to contribute some names can do that. I thought what I'd do is segue from that into a piece of mine entitled Home, and it occurs to me that I probably should attempt to be, for one of the very few moments in my life, a good business person, and mention that if you go to the link for the Carytown concert or to my website, you'll find some CDs for sale. This next tune that I'm going to segue into, which is entitled Home, is on the Denali Pass CD, so if you like what you hear, you could check that out on one of those Denali Pass CDs. So this is an untitled ballad, and I will segue into another tune of mine entitled Home, which seems to have particular meaning since all of us are currently at home. So. I'm just doing this to prove I can actually read music. Now, this was actually finished this morning, so definitely need music for it. thanks. That was an untitled ballad, or part of a suite, or who knows what, with a segue into a piece of mine entitled Home, in honor of our homes and all of us who are currently staying home. Let's see, might not be a bad time just to remind everybody that we are hoping that in lieu of a ticket that you would normally pay to hear live music, you'll consider making a donation. Your donation will get split between the Concert House, which is of course an incredible cause, badly in need of your help right now, as they can't of course have live concerts, and also the Washtenaw Small Business Emergency Relief Fund, which is a charity I picked to have my portion of the proceeds go to, just to help all the incredible small businesses that we love so much in Ann Arbor and that are struggling right now to stay afloat. So I think now I'm going to play a tune that has nothing really to do with Mother's Day or spring or anything like that. It's just a tune that I love, that most of you probably know, Stella by Starlight. by Starlight. Just cannot go wrong. Wonderful tune like that. At some point, here's where technology is, actually old technology has reared its ugly head. This lovely decorative watch that you see on my wrist has no longer keeping time, so I have no idea how far along I am in the set. So after I play the next tune or two, I'm actually going to leave and go out into the hallway here at the School of Music and check a clock to see what time it is. So you'll have some moments to talk among yourselves. So I think maybe at this point, I would just, one thing I would like to say is that normally today would have been all about the trio, and as much as I love playing solo piano, it's certainly, I'm sorry to, let me just put this out there, I'm sorry to not have Paul Keller and Pete Sears, or Sean Dobbins, and sometimes Rob Bickley, here to play with. These guys are just the greatest musicians. We have the most wonderful time playing trio, and we hope when you're able to be back in person at the concert house, you will come back for future iterations of All About the Trio. So Paul and Pete and Sean, Rob, miss you guys, wish you were here to cover up my mistakes, but I will persevere here without you. So I think now maybe it's a good point to play Michel Legrand's You Must Believe in Spring, which of course is a piece that Bill Evans just played so beautifully. I'll do a little bit of that, and then I think I'll segue into I Love You, which we'll send out there to all the mothers out there from their various offspring. In my case, I just have a cat. I'm not sure if she loves me, but I feed her, so she probably does love me in her own feline way. So this will be a little bit of You Must Believe in Spring and I Love You. From Cole Porter, 1944 on the Cole Porter, from a piece, I'm not sure actually now if it was a musical or a film, but Mexican Hayride. I will have to do my research on that, figure out which it was. Okay, here we go. So that was Michel Legrand's You Must Believe in Spring, and I think given the weather that we've had in the last 2 weeks, it's going to take all of our willpower to actually believe in spring staying, and at least the flowering trees are out, so that's the good news. I am going to, as I said before, I'm going to step out of my office for a second to find out what time it is, and I will be right back, so get yourself a refreshing beverage. Okay, so looks like we have about 10 more minutes. Once again, I will encourage everybody to consider making a donation that will go towards the Carytown Concert House, and another portion of it will go to the Washtenaw Small Business Emergency Relief Fund. I'd be extremely grateful if everybody would consider doing that. So, I have 2 tunes left. I was planning on doing some kind of arrangement of the song M-O-T-H-E-R, and what ended up happening is that I realized that maybe for a while now I've been confusing that with L-O-V-E and had the 2 tunes kind of mixed up, and I finally came to my senses and realized that the 2 very different tunes. So I decided to do a little bit of research on M-O-T-H-E-R, and I found the original sheet music, which I thought was kind of fun. And it had the verse, and we talk a lot on All About the Trio series about the fact that so many of these verses just get lost. Nobody ever plays the verse anymore of the songs. They only play the chorus part of the song, which is the part we all know. So what I'd like to do is a little dramatic recitation, if you will, of the verse of this piece, of this tune. This was written in 1915. And I had always thought it was a tune probably written in the 1930s and expected that it had sort of 1930s-ish harmony, but it really has more turn-of-the-century harmony, and I was kind of excited to have the sheet music for it. So here is the verse for your edification. I've been around the world, you bet, but never went to school. Hard knocks are all I seem to get. Perhaps I've been a fool. But still, some educated folks, supposed to be so swell, would fail if they were called upon a simple word to spell. Now, if you'd like to put me to a test, there's one dear name that I can spell the best. I will continue. M is for the million things she gave me. O means only that she's growing old. T is for the tears were shed to save me. H is for her heart of purest gold. E is for her eyes with love light shining. R means right, and right shall always be. Put them all together, they spell mother, a word that means the world to me. And I am available for other recitations if you need me. Okay, so I will play that in its original version with all the original harmonies. And I will segue from that into Up Jump Spring in our hopes of continuing spring. Again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank Monica for inviting me to be a part of this wonderful series, and Kevin for all his help. We went through lots of different machinations. I was hoping to set this all up with microphones and an audio interface, but that came to naught. Next time I'll do that. So this is all just basic technology with the iPhone, Facebook Live, and the piano. So thanks to everybody for helping make this happen. So this will be M-O-T-H-E-R and into Up Jump Spring by Freddie Hubbard, written in 1962. you so much for listening.